Thank you very much to all the organizers, and thank you very much to IIM Nagpur for holding such a stellar event where you're discussing things as varied as artificial intelligence right up to place for women in the corporate world, in the fields that we are in. Um, Good afternoon to everybody in the audience. And I just want to share my life journey because sometimes we make a big deal about, what are the opportunities? Are there glass ceilings? Do things uh, actually get more difficult for women than they are for men? These are important discussions, certainly, but sometimes I feel we give them too much credence, at least in the profession that I am in. Uh, Here, we don't have time to think about things like gender parity. We don't have time to think about issues in the office because we're always dealing with the issues outside the office. News coming from outside. And here, I just feel that the best story wins the day. And the reporter who gets the best story actually wins the day, makes a name not just for himself or herself, but also for the channel or the newspaper that they are working for. Having said that, certainly for women, as in other fields, this field as well, challenges are slightly more simply because the kind of commitments women have at home, sometimes being newly married, sometimes being young mothers, there are challenges. But I just want to say this, that in my career spanning about 32 years, I've had great deal of support from my seniors. And this support comes regardless of what your gender is. It actually only depends on what your capability of getting the best story is and how you can literally set the screen on fire. That's really where we are coming from, and that really determines on which way this entire ball game is going to work out for you. If you have a great story, if you can build a great narrative, if you can, and it all depends on public response. We don't know how the public is going to react to a particular story. So let me share with you, I've worked, started with the Economic Times as a business journalist, moved to the Indian Express where I worked for about 10 years. And at the Indian Express, I realized just business stories are not going to take me anywhere because it's a general paper. Politics, crime, all of these stories sometimes tend to come to the front page way more than a business story did. Business stories make it to the front page definitely on economic survey day or a budget day or GDP days, but rest of the time, unless you had a path-breaking story, you weren't going to make it to the front page. And that's when my tryst with politics really began. I was covering the Parliament for the Indian Express, and I covered all debates with any economic overtones in both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. And that gave me the exposure to politics, to way political parties and policy making really happen, and to be a part of history being made. I was there in Parliament when Vajpayee lost his vote as a prime minister because of one vote. And that one vote came from a Congress member of parliament who had already become the Odisha chief minister. Girdhar Gomang was his name. And this happened way back in 1999, 25 years ago. But I still remember the day as clearly as if it happened yesterday. And, that was learning on the job. And for this, frankly, gender didn't play a role. I was there, I saw it, and that experience is something I soaked, even if I wasn't writing the political story of the day. I just learned, and it helped me in good stead when I moved on to doing the political economy, which is the first time that I was given that designation and that kind of a role, where I did the finance ministry, but I looked at the politico-economy story in the finance ministry as well, on not just the budget story, but also Minister Oking purchase of custom seized guns. The first decision that a certain minister took was to sign the file giving those confiscated arms to his own sons. That became the big story, and Indian Express had a 8-column lead story on that. The other story I did was how MTNL put an antenna on the Supreme Court terrace, and in return gave all the 26 judges a free mobile phone in the days when every single minute of mobile calls used to cost 16 rupees. And everybody knew that mobile phones cannot be given free by a corporate, because it was a corporate. So what if it was a public sector corporate? It wasn't the government. It was a publicly held company, MTNL, because majority stake was the government's, but there were shareholders in the public as well, and therefore it had to be treated as a company, not the government. I remember doing that story, and that story staying on Fali Nariman's table for I think 2 weeks before we got a legal advice that it was safe and it wasn't contempt of court. And we printed the story saying that all the 26 judges got the phone, and it was wrong, because the building and the salary and perks of judges are declared or determined through an act of parliament. Perks cannot be given just like that in a quid pro quo. And within hours of that story being printed in the morning newspaper, all the 26 phones were surrendered. And that's the kind of impact we had. Again, nothing to do with the gender. It was really the story that I had dug out, if I'd like to put it that way, and put it out there. So, political economy and the kind of stories we did from the corridors of power, here gender really didn't matter. Yes, there are gender overtones, because reporters like me, young editors like me could not go and meet people over a drink in the evening. We did formal appointments, we did it in offices, but we really couldn't go out there and meet people over a drink in the evening, have dinner and hang out and make friends of that kind. So yes, the style of working did differ. Having said that, I think, men may have a better way of hanging out with people, may have a better, rapport with people. But if you want to get out the good story, you can do it even if you're a woman. And that's something that I took away from me, from my experience of 10 years at the Express. And then at the age of 40, when most people were, of the mindset that 40 is the ceiling age as far as a television career for women is concerned. Well, at the age of 40, I moved on to become a television journalist, to be on screen. I never went out there to become an anchor, but then life has taken me, wherever it has taken me. It's not been by plan. It's just been a lot of hard work. It's been a lot of perseverance. It's just hanging in there, putting in my best, having 2 kids on the way, giving them time, balancing my life. One has to do all of that. I'm sure, many men do the balancing act so that they can support their wives also in working. So I don't think a big deal should be made about the fact that, gender parity, because in my newsroom today where I'm sitting in my office and the newsroom is right outside. I have more women than I have men. And they're equally competitive, they are equally on the ball, and they coexist very well as teams because television is all about a teamwork. I alone cannot do anything. There has to be a technical support. Somebody has to cut the picture from the PCR, which is the production control room. I'm in front of the camera. There has to be a cameraman. Somebody's got to put the visual. Somebody's got to put the graphics. The anchor is in the center, is only doing the talking. So, it requires a whole lot of teamwork. We have top bands going on the screen, we have pictures coming in, we have sound bites coming in, we have a grid of breaking news at the bottom. So probably at any given point in time, there are 20 people who are involved in putting one single frame on air where you see one person talking. For one person talking, there are 20 people behind the scenes. And these are men and women in equal measure, sometimes more women than men. The situation is very fluid and no walls of gender really stay here. And so the Commonwealth Games story, the 2G spectrum scam, you've heard it all. The Sheesh Mahal scam latest on Arvind Kejriwal's home being built on public funds. All of these stories determine a channel or a news person's credibility and ability to provide the cutting edge in the profession that I am in. And here, frankly, gender doesn't play a role. Yes, in decision-making positions, there has been a glass ceiling. I would be lying if I said there wasn't any. But I'm happy to report organically, just through the dint of talent, you can call it, hard work, I'm today heading 2 channels. A Hindi channel called Times Now Nav Bharat, an English channel called Times Now. Yes, among the few women editors, I think the only one at the moment, and not too many women editors before me. In the TV space, definitely. We've had some in the print, like Mrinal Pandey from yesteryears. But it's been a tough ride, but it's a fulfilling ride, and I must say that to you that at least in the Times Group, we are considered as professionals. We are not differentiated because of the gender that we have. And that has been a very, very fulfilling journey for me. Obstacles exist for everybody. As I say, sometimes you have a dry patch of couple of months and you don't land a good story. To me, that is the obstacle, and that obstacle is the same for women and men. Becoming an editor, yes, difficult, but वो कहा जाता है खुद ही को कर इतना बुलंद के बंदा के खुदा किस्मत लिखने से पूछे बंदे तेरी रजा क्या है. So that's what you've got to do. You've got to be so good that denying you any position is not going to be possible for anybody, because logic will defy any other decision. And I'm happy to report we have women in very key decision-making roles in the newsroom, in both English as well as in Hindi channels. And this profession is one where I think gender debate has been boxed in. Yes, some amount of pay parity issues were there. By and large, I would say 75 to 80% they are sorted out, and we're in the green on this one. We don't have anything to hide, and gender justice really does happen. A little bit of what happens in our general society about women, those stereotypes do exist, but women in this field, I must say, fight their battles very well, because we're in the job of communications and we are never short of words. And as far as words are concerned, they hold us in good stead. in fighting our patterns. I'll leave it at that. Happy to interact with you if any questions you would want to ask in the audience.
Yeah, we have a question over there. Can you please provide a mic? Excuse me, mic.
Hello, ma'am.
Hi.
Ma'am, my question is, how can you say that gender parity is not important when women, if suppose I'm an average woman and I'm working in a newsroom and I'm being differentiated against, I'm not being included in, close group conversations, how can I say that gender parity is not important there? I mean, yes, I can be strong, I can, try to be so talented that they cannot deny me a job, but at the same time that's not necessary. Like average people, average women also deserve the same kind of circumstances as average men are being given.
I didn't quite say that gender parity is not important. I said it's not a big challenge in our field of media because there are many women in media and you find your support system, and people in media, women in media have the added advantage because you're in mass communication, you're a communicator. I have not come across many women who cannot express themselves if they are not being treated well. And when you express, when you make yourself heard, that's half the battle won. Many people have a problem in fighting for gender justice because articulation, speaking about is a taboo. In the newsroom, there is no taboo. Everybody expresses themselves freely. So the atmosphere around you is congenial to expressing yourself. And once you express yourself, I have seen that the ecosystem around you begins to work. And because we are in the business of fighting for justice for others, and therefore in our own newsrooms, fighting for justice therefore becomes easier. It gets words and it gets support. That's what I said. In other professions, it may not be the same.
Any other questions?
Good afternoon, ma'am. So my question to you is gender equality a onus on society, or the government must do more? Because India ranks today 127 among 146 countries in gender diversity index. So if women are getting equal opportunity, and if women currently, if we see, represent in every field, they are coming up in every field, then why is India's ranking so poor, and is the onus on the society?
It's a very good question, and it must lead all of us to introspect. In the formal sector, involvement of women as a part of the workforce is under 20%. If it is under 20%, clearly women are not being able to survive or get in. There are barriers somewhere. And those barriers, frankly, governments can do nothing about. The private sector is the first sector which will stand up and say that they cannot dictate to us. So the government can talk about it, spread awareness about it, but beyond that, government rules, government cannot tell you what and whom to hire, what kind of atmosphere to keep in workplaces. Certainly it's up to society, and certainly it's up to young professionals who are tomorrow's leaders. It's up to them. Because if as a society we begin to treat, oh, women have to be hired, oh, tomorrow they're going to get pregnant, they're going to get married, they're going to ask leave. Well, if those kind of barriers are created for women to come in, we will never have gender parity. So every individual in the workplace has to think from a societal point of view. If women were not there, there wouldn't be kids. So women are there. We all want kids in our families. Everybody wants a family. A woman is an important part of that social unit. And woman is also equally an intrinsic part of a workplace. A workplace wouldn't be, you know, sensitive or even have the diversity if it were only men working in an office. So women play an important role, and they're as good in any field as men are. Even in ISRO, the Chandrayaan launch, the woman was the project manager. So women are not behind anybody, but yes, the social norms and the acceptability, the mind walls that we create, that, oh, women, if they come in, we'll have this problem and that problem. So I would say more than government interference, what we need to do is awareness within our own organizations, awareness within our own workforce to make that space for women, to hold their hand, because there will be ups and downs. There will be those times when they biologically will need to attend to some of the calls on their lives. But that really doesn't mean, because I feel, and I think all women feel, you can hold that against us if you want, but I feel women multitask better. They are very, very committed to their work, their deadlines, and somehow or the other, they make it up. Having a woman colleague will never leave your work in deficit. You will always be in the green. And that is the support system that I think increasing this percentage of women in the formal sector really needs from the society. And I wish all of us together can actually spread that awareness and actually become moving bricks and moving levers in taking this number up in the coming years.
Thank you, ma'am. We rightfully agree with your thought. The best story wins the game, and gender does not stop you from excelling and making a mark on the world. It is my honor and privilege to extend a heartfelt thanks on behalf of the entire IIM Nagpur fraternity to Ms. Navika Kumar for her inspirational conversation and for taking out time from a busy schedule and giving us insights.
We are truly fortunate to have had the opportunity to listen to you. We at IIM Nagpur strongly believe in creating a sustainable environment. Thus, it is our tradition to present our guest with a unique living and breathing gift that reflects our ethos. Ma'am, tree has been planted in your name in the Simli Park National Park, Odisha. The certificate is displayed on the screen and will be mailed to you shortly.
With this, we come to the end of our session. We have a coffee break for 10